Ready.
Tucker Carlson and Don Lemon got ousted by Fox in the same. Well, Tucker, Fox, Don Lemon, CNN, same day. Fired.
For reasons of?
Nobody knows. Don was surprised. He was stunned. Couldn't believe that he lost his job at CNN. And Tucker probably because, the lawsuit.
Probably. Didn't he just interview former President Trump?
Probably. I don't know, but probably.
I think he just did because he was talking about the indictment. I think he interviewed him about the indictment.
There you have it.
Must have not been that long ago.
So now Tucker is probably going to be on Nelk Boy.
Sure. Don't know what that is, but sure.
You never heard of the Full Send podcast?
No.
They're the ops.
Oh. We're after you, Full Sail University. I feel like those are two different things.
They are.
All right.
So, yeah, as far as that goes, Don Lemon losing his job.
What's he look like?
I would. You don't know who Don Lemon is?
I probably do.
He's the Band-Aid colored man.
I'm not one for actually watching the news all that much, just because lies and shit. But
facts.
Don Lemon.
So Don Lemon, I think, is an interesting.
He's the Band-Aid colored person.
He is. So Don Lemon, to me, getting fired is interesting because I think it's the end of an era for news, which the era started like 10 years ago. Or
Did you like Don Lemon? Did you believe in what he was saying?
I don't believe that Don Lemon was a person that stood for anything.
Okay.
And I say that because he has said so many things that contrast other things that he said.
Oh, okay. I was going to ask if he was like unbiased.
No.
But no. Okay.
No.
Just contradicts himself.
Yeah. So I think there is a greater. I mean, just think about the organizations that these people work at, right? So Tucker works at Fox. They have their agenda.
Correct.
Don Band-Aid works at CNN. They have their agenda. And the whole point of the agenda is that we're supposed to clash. We're supposed to go to the extremes of everything.
Right.
And you kind of have to stand on that. And I think the true thoughts of Don Lemon has snuck out in the past. Like recently, he said some lady was past her prime. That was big news, right? So, but like, that's probably how he actually feels, but that's really not how the network operates. They don't believe in saying that, women are past their prime, which, that's a whole other thing. He's also said, he's spoken about men that like sag their pants and blah, 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 like kind of the old Bill Cosby type of thing.
Right.
But then later on, will say the exact opposite. So I think that he was really just a figure that is just like, look, whatever the network tells me to do, I will say it and I'll just put it in my own words. And that's that. Versus Tucker is the exact same way, but he really do be riding for what the network believes.
Right.
Because he ain't never going to spill around and be like, yeah, I like.
Go ahead.
He's never going to turn around and say he like whatever that the other side like. Right. If there's like a pride parade, you ain't gonna catch him.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like that's just he really live and die whatever that stuff. And that's probably what really terminated him from this position.
Probably
because as you know, the whole Dominion thing, they lost $780 something million. I don't know if they're blaming that on Tucker or not. It's hard to say that because I'm sure there's a system of checks and balances before you can get on the air and start talking about certain things that people have to say, yeah, you can do that continuously. I'm sure if it happened one time, it can slip through the brains or whatever. But the whole Dominion thing, they talked about it over and over and over again. It's just kind of like, well, that to me sounds like the network's fault.
Right.
But then both getting fired is interesting. News also, to me, died when Joe Biden came into office. Mm-hmm. Because without the extremes in the world, people don't know what to listen to anymore. How many people do you know say, oh, yeah, I used to listen to all that political stuff like 2-3 years ago, but like it was bad for my mental health. I needed to take a break. I got to do this. I got to do that. Right. Those same people are going to come back this time next year telling you who to vote for, what, all that kind of stuff. So all this new stuff works on a cycle. Whenever it's hot, it's because there's something going around the world that has captivated people's attention, and it only happens for a specific amount of time. But news on its head, it's kind of dead.
Yeah.
And the salacious aspect of life are more interesting than all of that. Plus, also, there's a lot of bad news. And as you know, if it bleeds, it leads. But nowadays, the whole world is bloody. So, and we know it. That's the difference. The world been bleeding for a long time, but now we know it. And there's so much that a person can take. And a lot of the information that you read online is all used to sway you in one way or another, which is real nasty. Like when you read that there's been 200 mass shootings, it's not all the same thing,
right?
Because you hear about the ones that stand apart from those, the ones with the school shootings and the ones that take out 25 people. A lot of times they're just putting in information on like gang violence or random acts of violence between two people who got in an argument and then they end up shooting people, and 3 people, die from gunfire or something like that. They mash it all together so that they can give you this huge thing. Everything has to be in extremes because that's the only way people are going to listen.
Right.
So is it the end of an era for news, for that form of media? This year?
Possibly. I mean, you got to think of where people are getting their news in general now. It's not just the news networks anymore. Shade Room. A lot of, like Reddit or things like that, or even YouTube has it has the networks on YouTube, but, they're getting it from YouTube versus going on TV nowadays. So, and then I don't follow CNN on YouTube, so I don't know how active they are there, but, you're getting a lot of local news joints, all this stuff. So,
yeah, it's difficult.
Thanks for listening. If you like what you saw, please make sure to subscribe to us on Instagram at MOI Podcast. And please check us out on our YouTube channel by searching Men on the Internet Network.